So yeah, this is my journey and my story. When I was younger, I always thought like, you know, opening your third eye was something like that'll give you superpowers. And I'm like, man, I want the cheat codes of life. I want to open my third eye so that I can have abundance and knowledge and wisdom and be on top of the world and be able to, have the cheat code to life itself. That's what I thought about it from a young and more impressionable mind. Until you really live that shit, it's like money. When I had my awakening, I truly shifted from the person that I am now to who I was, just like the show on Netflix, The Travelers. The show on Netflix where it's a soul that comes in and takes over those individuals at the time of death. Another soul walks into that vessel with a purpose. It's a really good show. You guys should check it out if you haven't already. So it's kind of like it's something like that, but I still feel like it's me. It's just a version of me that is on a mission, my higher self, if you will. So after I had my awakening in 2017 and I couldn't indulge in every substance threw off my vibration, I went into a state of shock. I started to do heavier drugs, more pills, coke, even. And because I wasn't getting the relief that I once was off of the drinking and the weed, and I was so uncomfortable with life. I felt awkward around people. My sense of humor even had left the building for a while. Like I was class clown in school. That was my ego giving me um, that characteristic to get through those childhood traumas, right? So my sense of humor was what got me through those trials and tribulations in my young upbringing, and it's like what protected me from like being bullied, if you will, or going into more of a depression because I could even make myself laugh, and I did. I clown on people, crack jokes all day. It was very I was hysterical. And after I had my awakening in 2017, literally overnight the next day that I couldn't smoke weed, couldn't drink and enjoy it, nothing would work. Even I smoked cigarettes. And I even picked up a cigarette and it threw off my vibration. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling that everything makes me feel so uncomfortable and unbalanced? I didn't even know the word unbalanced, what it entailed, what it really meant. I didn't know. I had no idea. I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And I came from a state of belief to a state of knowing. And knowing not in the, you read something, knowing, like in the knowing state that I innately feel and resonate with certain truths. They just come to me like, okay, this is what's going on. So things started to make sense as I started to get these downloads, like messages, like your subconscious mind relaying the messages, like, hey, calm down. You're going through this because it's um, giving you an upgrade to your purpose type of messages. And I'm like, oh, this is why this is happening. You're not like messages also like you're feeling this way because your frequency has changed and now you feel more. So now that propelled me to get sober. I'm in recovery, so I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything as far as substances, alcohol use, like nothing. I can't even take antidepressants because they throw my frequency off. I can't. I don't take anything that's um, in those vices. Yeah. So I've been sober for a year now, and I'm dealing with all my emotions. So since 2017, what's that? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 2, 3, 6 years. So um, I've been in my process of awakening for the past 6 years now on my journey. 1 year sober. And I wasn't sober since I was like 17, 18 when I first got introduced into weed. So man, it's been something. So I know that I can't really step into my purpose and hinder my growth process. Like, I'm damn near obligated to be a way shower, to be a generational curse breaker, and it's not easy. If somebody claims that they're a chosen one, and that's fine. Everybody has the right to claim whatever they want. If you don't resonate with it, then it's not for you. It's not your truth. Keep it moving. It's fine. There's different levels and tiers to this life, to knowledge, to maturity, that you're able to walk away from a lot of things that are no longer serving you. You don't take things as personal. You're not as reactionary, less judgmental. That is the purpose of awakening to a higher purpose, to a higher frequency, a higher vibration. People say, "Oh, crystals and vibrations." Let me tell you something else. 2020 Halloween, October 30th, 31st, whatever day Halloween falls on. My memory is not the best. So October 30th, the day of Halloween, if there was a full moon out with a rainbow crescent around it, and I had went to the crystal and stone shop with a friend of mine earlier that day on Halloween, 2020. And we were picking out tarot cards and crystals and whatnot. And on my way to dropping her off before I was headed home to my side of town, we had passed this big field. She was way out in the burbs. And we had passed this huge field. And this thought just passed in my head as I was walking. And I shared the thought with her out loud. I'm like, man, what if we saw a UFO over there? Because it just looked like that scene out of a movie, like an alien movie, for real. Just something just came at me that way, like the thought. I'm like, what if because it was like a field with the power lines in it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what if we saw a UFO in that field? I just shared that thought with her, real spill. And so I ended up dropping her off, and my brother was having a party at his house, and I really didn't feel like going. Like during these times, like I had shifted so much so that I was uncomfortable. I was quite uncomfortable. And this was 2020. So it was like 3 years after my awakening. And I was still in an uncomfortable stage of getting to know myself and getting comfortable around people while I was still battling with addictions. So I wasn't quite used to mixing energies with me growing and being around people. Like, I used to hang around a lot of people, and I liked being I liked having a lot of friends and a lot of women and stuff like that, but it had changed after 2017. So after we had left, I dropped her off from the Stone and Crystal shop, and I went to my brother's house. He was doing a Halloween party, and I only wanted to stay for a minute. I was sober, because I have gotten sober for a month. I did get sober for a month. Prior to Halloween coming, I was probably a month in sober, because after 2017, I started to have a conflict within myself, with my ego and my higher self. And I kept being forced to make the change to get sober, because doing the drugs and the drinking and shit was tearing my ass up. It was messing up my life. So I kept continuously working on trying to do it by myself, go it alone and get sober. Like, I would go to cold turkey for sometimes a couple months. The longest I went until now was 6 months, but I did it cold turkey. I was miserable. I just didn't have any guidance but anyway, Halloween, 2020, I was sober. clear mind. I didn't have any substances. So my intentions when I left, dropped her off to go to my brother's house, was only to stay for a short while because I didn't want to mix and mingle and rave and turn up like that. I wasn't feeling it at all, especially in a sober mind. And I was very impressionable in that early stage. And I definitely wasn't in a program or anything. So I was like, let me go there. I'm going to go there, shake hands, show my face. Boom, I'm out. And that's what I did. Before I left, my little cousin was there, and we walked outside to admire the moon. And I'm like, you see that, Haley? The moon looks amazing. Like, that's crazy. I never seen the moon with a rainbow around it, like a rainbow around the moon. It was a full moon in the night, too. Crazy. So I get back home that night, and I'm watching a movie with my girl, and I wanted to come out. Once I got home, I put my stones and crystals on my balcony to charge them underneath that moonlight. So when I walked out on the balcony, I could see the moon straight ahead, north, ahead of the house in the sky. So it was right smack in the middle, clear as day. So when I came in and watched a movie with my girl, chilling for about an hour, and I wanted to go back out and see where the moon was before I ended my night. Like, just to see the trajectory of it, where it had moved in the sky, was it still how it was looking, etc., right? So when I went out, the moon was over the house. It was behind. It was south. Now, the moon had moved behind the house, like in that direction. So when I went out, I peered over the balcony. I walked to the edge of the balcony. I'm looking for it. So I look over the back of the house like this, and a ship was coming in. I'm not kidding. Real life. Something that, so as it was coming in, this was no more than 10 to 15 feet over my head, over the house. And as it came in, it didn't have no sound, but it had like 3 lights underneath the belly of the ship. And it was cloaked. So the way I can describe it is like it was how you can see the dimensions of a bubble. It wasn't circular, no, but how you can see a bubble, but it's transparent. You can see through it, right? That's how it looked, but it had shapes and edges to it. And it had 3 lights under the belly. They were very visible to me. So I'm yelling to my girl at the couch. I yelled to her to run to the door as I didn't take my eye off this thing. It's over my head. It goes over my head. It's like this. This is how it was over my head. Like this. It wasn't way off in the distance. It wasn't a fucking orb in the sky. It was a ship. A fucking spaceship. And as it was going over, I knew it was no more than 10 to 15 feet over my house. So as it's going over, she gets to the door, as it's going over the street. It's going. It wasn't flying like a jet. It was cruising. It was going a nice fucking speed, but enough time for me to see it and visualize what I was seeing while my brain was being fucking scrambled, and for my girl to also be a witness. And we looked at each other in fucking awe. Like, I stay in Detroit. Like, you don't see no spaceships in the fucking city. I've never in my life saw no shit like that in my life. The closest thing I ever came to that is when I was in 9th grade, and I found out about cryptids. And I was so obsessed with cryptids, Bigfoot, the Thunderbird. Like, I was obsessed with the fucking Thunderbird. I just knew it was out there. Big ass giant bird was out there flying around. And I got home that day, and I was in my room, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna see a Thunderbird. Something told me to run outside. I ran outside out the side door, and I looked up in the sky, and there was a big ass hawk flew right over me in the backyard. Big ass hawk. I said, bro, that's fucking crazy. It was like I manifested it. That was the closest thing I can match with the experience that I shared, and like something magical that happened. Like, I manifested having to have a visit like that because I was tripping. I felt alone. I didn't know what was happening to me during my dark night of the soul, and why I had been going through so much, and why I had been feeling the way I was feeling with all these, you know, fine tunings and, becoming a whole new person. And so me and my girl looked at each other with awe, and I'm like, what did you see? Tell me, what did you see? Did you see that? We were fucking speechless. She said her first thing that she thought she saw was a giant bird, but she knew it wasn't a bird because it looked like a ship. And she said, as she saw it going off, it was like she said she thought it was a bird because she saw a wing on it. But she said, I knew it wasn't no bird. I said, did you see the lights? She said she didn't see the lights. The whole time I saw the lights underneath the belly of it. So we both saw the same thing, but it's different as well.